Don't forget to follow Grit Daily News as well as me, your host, Loralyn Mears, everywhere on social media. And how about throwing 4 or 5 stars our way if you're listening to Apple or Spotify? Subscribe to our show. Hey everyone, welcome back to the formerly known as Like a Boss podcast, now branded as, in season 3, The Grit Files, Startup Stories. Today, we're not only going to get gritty, we're going to get a little sexy with our host and guest. I'm the host, Loralyn, and our guest, see, I'm already flustered and a little nervous. Woo-hoo-hoo. We're going to talk about some taboo stuff like sex with Jim Kniest. He is the founder and creator of an amazing new game called Halos and Sins, which is all about normalizing sex and your play style, helping you and your partner, be it a new partner or a partner that you've had for some time, level up together and figure out what it is that you want out of your sexual relationship, and to give you the tools and the boundaries and all of the bits that you need to be able to, well, make it comfortable and talk about it and experience joy and pleasure together. Hey, Jim.
Hey, thanks so much for having me on their podcast.
Well, I don't want to steal your thunder here, but you've got quite the app there. In fact, when I go to the App Store, I don't see stuff like this on here. So talk to us about the impetus behind this app and all that you're doing to really normalize sex and help partners identify how that they can enjoy sex together.
Sure, yeah. So I've actually been working on this game for about 5 years now. I am the only developer, and it's just been an amazing journey creating this app. There's nothing there that does what my app does. There's a lot of, if I had to describe the game, it's dirty sex dice meets aspects of World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy or Shadows of Mordor. And when I say aspects, I mean games with like a talent tree and choice progression. As you and the person you're playing with progress in the game, you gain levels and experience by doing different naughty, sexy actions. And you get to choose if you want to go to the left, which is the nice, angelic play style, or you can go to the right, which is the succubus play style, or you can choose some balanced play style of the two, where you kind of get a mix of the actions. And as you level up, the gameplay will change and give you actions that reflect your preferences. So.
And now, for all of because there's naysayers on every topic out there and trolls and all the rest of that, right? The scourge of social media that is. Anyway, are people saying, ooh, this isn't appropriate? I want to make sure my child never has anything to do with this. I think it's only designed for very mature and consenting adults. How do you work around all of that?
Well, I made sure to when you upload the game. Right now, currently the game is on Google Play. It is available. It's free to download. It's freemium, so it's free to download, and you can purchase in-app items in the game. And there is a required field where you have to set the age limit, and you have to answer a bunch of questions about the game. So it is definitely an 18+ game. I haven't gotten any negative feedback yet about. Did you say younger people playing? Was that the question?
Right. Because there's always a troll, someone that's saying, oh, you're trying to force the sexuality, of my child potentially, or you're trying to make this available and you're tainting a child's perception of what is sex or what is healthy sex. Whereas what you're really doing is normalizing it and helping couples grow together with no judgment on heterosexuality, gender, any of that. It's designed to bring, new tools of conversation into the bedroom or into wherever it is that you're having fun.
Yeah. And I try to warn in as many places as possible. This is 18+ only. And it's I think in 2 or 3 places it should be. And when you start up the game, it even has a warning. So.
Perfect. So you got all that stuff covered. So see, hey, attorneys and everybody out there, we've dotted our I's, we've crossed our T's. Now let's get gritty. Let's go. How did
Yes.
the concept for Halos and Sins come up?
Oh, that is an excellent question. I'm a huge Dungeons and Dragons nerd, and I'm really into stats and like customizing characters and players. And I asked the question. I was like, well, what would happen if I combined the level progression and stats of Dungeons and Dragons with a sex dice game? And there's a ton of sex dice games out there, but they're always very basic. They usually lack in quality a bit. And I really wanted to deliver a high quality product, which I have, that combines the aspects, the leveling progression of like I said, like World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy or Shadows of Mordor or Dungeons and Dragons. And as you level, it changes your gameplay and it changes your experience. And I have an amazing product out there now. And as we're actually looking to get Kickstarter funding. And as we get more Kickstarter funding going forward, the Kickstarter will be launching in a few months. And once we get more Kickstarter funding, we'll really be able to, find out what people are liking about the game more, what people want to see more of, and really, really get a really high quality product out there.
Excellent. Now I'm going to do a little sidebar because
Sure.
as gaming nerds and all this, you've brought up a few names.
Mhm.
What is your favorite game and favorite character in that game? The audience is going to be curious. You know that.
Geez, that is a really tough one. I'd probably have to say Final Fantasy VII and Cloud is my favorite. Just mostly for the cool factor, but there's so many amazing characters out there. I'd have to think about that. I really like in Metroid. I like Samus. I think she's a really cool protagonist. And if you ever played the original Metroid, getting to the very end of the game, you finally realize like her helmet fades away, and you realize for the first time that it's a girl you've been playing the whole time. And you're just like, what? This is great. So, but it's a great game.
Love that. These little twists. Okay, back to the podcast here. And so
Yeah.
you've been developing this for 5 years. And typically, when startup founders are on their journey, what they thought they were building when they started is not what it is some years later. So, can you tell us what's changed, not only about what you've built, but about yourself? What's changed?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. Yeah, over the course of the 5 years, I've really learned a lot about myself as a CEO, and I've developed a lot of like management skills. I've had to learn, had to have some difficult conversations, but also some really fun conversations. And it's just been a really good journey, and every part of my experience has led me to this point, and I'm able to deliver such an amazing product, and I'm so excited to share it with everyone. And I really wanted to help people is the core of what I want to do. So did I answer your question, or was there
Sure.
more?
No, we're good.
Yeah.
We're good. We'll
Yeah.
just keep rolling here. And so,
Yeah.
on any journey,
Mhm.
life, entrepreneurship, whatever it is, there's always some big obstacle that we didn't see coming. And then, we hit the wall. Tell
Yeah.
us what in your life and path so far has thrown you for a really big loop.
Mm, yeah. So the game itself has pretty much month to month there's been extra loops. I've had to teach myself how to use Unity, which is a software development platform, which is what the game is made with. I've had to figure out, dealing with contractors and working with different personalities. I've had to, yeah, there's been a lot of loops thrown at me. But again, it's all been a positive experience. It's all led me back to the point I'm at now. I think if I had to say like one of the biggest loops that I've been thrown for, this is the third version of the game. The very first version of the game was very like, it was obviously made by an engineer. It didn't have good graphics. It didn't have good user interface. And I got a lot of feedback on it that people were just like, hey, this isn't really playable, or I don't understand what's happening here. So I went back to the drawing board and I did another version, and I eventually got a user experience person, but I wish I had have gotten that person earlier on in the process, because then it would have shortened a lot of development time on my end, and it wouldn't have wasted some art that I had made for me. So, but again, like I said, it's all been part of the process. It's all helped me learn and get to the point I'm at now, where we have a beautiful product. One of the main artists for the game actually worked on Farmville, so it looks really nice and it plays really nicely.
Excellent. Now, you kind of jumped maybe ahead to one of the questions that I do like to
Sorry
ask
about
my
that.
guests. Well, no, it's all right, because maybe it's a different answer. But if I
Hmm.
gave you this magical undo button, Jim, and said you got to go back in your life and change one thing, personally, professionally, doesn't matter, whatever you're comfortable sharing, what are you going to undo?
Yeah, I think on this process, on the Halos and Sins development side, I definitely would have gone back and hired a user experience person earlier on in the process. But at the time, I didn't know like what was the process, like what is the correct order of operations. Like, you generally speaking, you want to hire a design person, the user experience person, and then you hire a user interface person, and then you get artists and who can match the style that you choose. So that's probably what I would have gone back and changed about the game.
Well, it's all a learning process, right? This is part of the whole path with entrepreneurship. You don't know what you don't know until the thing's on fire and you're going, oh, okay, now what? How do I put this damn thing out?
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
If I asked you and said, okay, I'm an alien, let's be science nerds, and you're telling me why I need to download this game, what are you telling me?
Well, are you an alien that needs to experience that has a sex drive, or are you kind of an asexual alien? I guess I would ask back.
I'm an alien that has a sex drive. Yeah, we'll put
Okay.
that out there.
Yeah, I mean, it could help. It could help anyone. I don't know about aliens. I'd really have to give that a bit more thought. But depending on their preferences, it could help anyone learn more about themselves, and explore which sexual path they want to go down. Somebody can have in real life, they can have a personality where they're very timid, maybe like in the real world. But we're not trying to get at that with this game. We're really trying to get at what is your sexual play style. Like what is your underlying sexual play style? So they may be timid in the real world, but in the bedroom they may be like an aggressive dominant person, and you can really uncover something like that with you and your partner playing the game.
You opened the podcast talking about data analytics, and you're a bit of a data wonk on that side. So you must see all kinds of interesting patterns. Do people tend to stick more to the Halo side of things where they want their pleasure a little bit softer, not so out there? Or do people vacillate between the sinner side of things and then the Halo, just sort of depends on the mood? Or do people always arc right where, hey, it's devil style, aggression, full dominatrix, or else?
Yeah, it sounds like you have a really good grasp of kind of how the game works. Um,
I'm not
yeah.
saying I play or don't play.
Well, if you don't, I recommend it. Yeah, if I actually don't have that information available, so I can't answer that question. I Anecdotally, I think people might tend to go more the succubus route, but I don't know, and I can only base that on feedback from testers that have given me feedback on the game, like my beta testers. And there's been over 200 beta testers so far, so it's very solid, very well locked down. I have my writer actually, she's written 60 romance novels, so she is quite talented and she's done some amazing stuff with the copy. So, but yeah, to answer your question, I don't have that information handy, so I can't really speculate. But maybe succubus, I guess, would be my guess.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
there's a
Yeah.
little naughty side to all of us, right? And we just
Mhm.
don't have the tools or the vocabulary or whatever it is to express ourselves in that way. And apps like Halos and Sins, games, all this kind of stuff, be it cardboard, traditional, in real world versus digital world games, can help bring that out. That's part of why they exist, part of why there's a
Yeah.
big multi-billion-dollar market for it.
Yeah, and it's like as we talked about earlier, it's sex topics are taboo, and I really want to help people be more comfortable with talking about it and being okay with learning about it for themselves. And sometimes you got to explore. So there's new decks out there you can purchase and try out new actions, and there's always new decks coming out. If I can plug here just a little bit, there is right now.
Here's a tough question. What's your kryptonite? What breaks you down, Jim?
That's an excellent question. I think the biggest struggle has been in the last 10 months. I've really started doing marketing, and my background is I'm a developer. I worked at a medical company for 6 years, dealing with patient safety and alarms, and that was intriguing. But then I decided to go off on my own and do this project. My kryptonite is probably having to context switch a lot. So like it's really been a learning experience. So I have to manage people and deal with people, my contractors, and then I have to wrench my brain over and write code. And that's actually quite difficult. I think that's probably been the most difficult thing that I've had to deal with. So I really had to, organize myself and figure out like what's the best way to approach it. So I started giving myself like office hours, and then time where I could develop, and then so it's worked out, and I've learned a lot about myself. But it's definitely it was definitely a journey getting to the point where it's like, oh hey, I need to limit my context switching per day, otherwise it's just gonna drive me batty. So
I encountered that as well, and try to uphold time blocking. Doesn't always work because something's on fire when you don't expect it, and then you just got to kind of drop everything in your plan, which is amazing, goes out the window in about 2.5 seconds. But there you go. Maybe you have a message for other developers, because you're not the first software developer to create their own software and code and app. What's that message for software developers as an entrepreneur now?
Yeah, and if you have any questions, you could any developer or anyone who wants to reach out, I would love to talk to people and get any feedback they have or any questions they have. My job here is to help people. But your question about what I would suggest for developers, I would say that just create the game, get it out there, get like a version 1 out there as fast as you can. Don't worry about maybe everything's not perfect. The code might not be the most like super sparkling code, but then you can go back and you can revisit the code. But get something out there, get some eyeballs on it, get people looking at it. And I know a lot of indie developers have a problem. They think that the games are just going to go viral overnight. So I would recommend definitely getting a marketing team, because most likely your game is not going to go viral overnight. It may, and I hope, and that would be amazing. That would be amazing if it did, but most likely it won't. So get a good marketing team together. That would be my recommendation.
All right, you've given us all kinds of tips and goodies. How can our audience help you, Jim?
Well, just play the game and give us feedback. Let's see. So we're on Instagram at Halos and Sins. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/Halos and Sins. Come to our website, sign up for email updates, and we have many updates with the Kickstarter. We're going to be doing account feature. We're going to be doing. I want to make sure that as many people as possible can play this game and love it like I do. So one of the very first editions is going to be the LGBTQ edition that's coming out very soon. We're going to have a solo play edition. We're going to have new decks, levels, and rewards. We're going to have a party edition, a bachelorette edition. We're going to then do localization, chat feature, a reminders feature, and then we have a lot planned.
Fantastic. All right. We'll leave links in the chat as well for the podcast. Last question, Jim. You've been a trooper here getting through this. If we looked into your closet, now this is a fun question. So whatever you want to share that's in your closet, but we're interested in which pair of shoes or boots, other footwear that best personifies your personality. Describe that footwear to us and why your personality is represented by that pair of shoes or boots or whatever it is.
Okay. Um, the footwear that I would choose to describe myself would probably be running shoes or tennis shoes. They have a lot of, they're multi-purpose and they're pretty much good in every situation. And that kind of links back to, I've essentially had to wear like 6 different hats, game designer, developer, CEO, manager. And it's, so I kind of feel like that versatility really translates well to my journey on this path. So.
And you're doing a lot of running, right? Non-stop running around.
Yeah, seriously. Oh man, yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. So, but I have really good people working for me, and it's only going to get better. And I'm really looking forward to this Kickstarter coming out and getting a support and getting new features out there too.
All right. So, listeners, you heard from Jim Kniest today, founder of Halos and Sins. So, if you want to level up and kind of have a little extra fun in the bedroom or wherever else you have your fun with your partner, or as we heard, even on your own with some new opportunities coming up there, take a look at Halos and Sins. Thanks so much, Jim, for being on the show today.
Oh, thanks so much for having me. It was really a pleasure.
If you're looking for the app, you can find it on Amazon. And how about that fantastic intro by Touch Circle?